Classes in session, this is the show where knowledge is profit, just so you know. Army Piper, OC Guy, and Trade Fly, bringing crypto news to the whole alumni. It's the word on the market, the one-stop shop for the info you need every time that it drops. The go-to show that you need right now. This is Piper Academy, it's all going down, let's go.
Yo, good morning, everybody. It is Friday on Piper Academy. We've got a lot of data to unpack today. PCE data coming out this morning. Market's getting a little rally off of it. The Dixie pulling back. We're going to take a look at a prediction of Bitcoin price that Peter Brandt put out. And then on top of that, we also got some other news coming out about token unlocks in June. And we're going to be taking a look at the expirations of options today on Bitcoin and Ethereum. All that and a whole lot more today on Piper Academy, guys. Let's get it. Classes in session. All right, guys, welcome to the show. I'm so happy to have you guys here today. But guess who else I got here? Guess who I got here? Let's go. Co-host, Trade Fly, and the OC guy in the house with me today. I'm so happy. The gang's back. Gang.
Oh yeah.
So what's up, Trade Fly? We've missed you. We've missed you, man. You've been AWOL. You've been AWOL, and you have failed to report. We're gonna dock your grade for that. So, but we're glad to have you back today.
Yeah, man, it's good to be back. Again, you guys know I love doing this every morning. Just been busy. I will say I've been freedom fighting, we'll call it, and business has picked up. So that's keeping me busy. I got to stay in the seat sometimes till about 07, which puts me a little bit behind. But I'm gonna make some deals here and making sure I can at least get out of there a couple days a week and be here on the show. I will definitely be here every Friday, though. That I can promise you.
Hey, bro. Well, glad you're here when you show up, and we know you got a very important job, so we're okay with it. Me and OC guy, we held it down. Ain't that right, OC?
Absolutely. I don't know if I'm too blocky today. Seems like the betting is coming back to me, but yeah, absolutely. We got you, brother. Whenever you need to take a break or something, you have the gang back up.
Shout out to everybody in the chat right now. I see Amy Lives Crypto in here. We got Trade Intuition saying, "What's up, people?" Sorry for the caps. No worry, man. No cap. And then also we got Alexander G, the mod queen, is in the house today. Crux of Crypto in here. Good morning, alumni. He said there. He's holding it down on the backside there of this entire show. So glad to see him in here. And sorry for your loss of your pooch, man, your doggo, bro. Heart goes out to you on that. And then also Eric Wallace saying, "Hey guys, hey Eric, what's up to you?" We've got a great show lined up today. I want to go ahead and jump in so we can get into this because we've got all three of us today. So we're going to be ripping out some Friday TA, taking a look at what we can expect for the weekend. Let's go ahead and jump over to my screen here, and we'll jump in and show you exactly what I'm seeing here in the world of the X. Guys, today, right there it is. Boom. Fear and Greed Index sitting at 73 still. 73 yesterday, 73 today, no change. I do think we might see this tick up a little bit on the next print of the Fear and Greed Index because we do have some movement right now in price. Moving over to the crypto bubbles on the daily here, you can see we are starting to turn red, getting a little pullback after this morning's pump. But remember, this is from yesterday exactly, 24 hours that it rates this day. So if we're looking here, we do see Arweave up 15.2%, Jasmy up 18.9%. Got some meme coins that are making some moves here like Pepe. Ondo's up 5.1%, Beam up 9.3%, and then Not up 3.9%. Brett over here in the corner at 2%. But you look here on the actual layout of the market cap, and you can see that Bitcoin is up 0.1% still for the day. In the past hour, getting a little pullback after that initial pump off of PCE, and we're going to be taking a look at that data here in just a second here. We did get a move up here on Toncoin. It is now a top 10 coin, which is insane because it's hardly available on any exchanges, and it is rocking. So Shiba Inu losing that 10th position to Toncoin. Pepe moving up. It is now at number 19, up 2 positions. Uniswap Litecoin giving up those spots there. And then Arbitrum is up 2 positions here to number 30. So what I do want to come and point out after we do this, got to do this one first. Looking at the total liquidations past 24 hours, guys, 43,920 traders liquidated. Total liquidations coming in at $100.4 million. Largest single liquidation order was on OKX. It was ETH for $1.8 million. We'll just call it 1.9, round that up. But if you take a look here, guys, the longs are starting to get liquidated on 24. But if we come over here and look at the 1 hour, it is actually a substantial amount of longs because people got bullish this morning on the hourly. I have to admit, even I was like, this might be it. Bull run might be back on. But we are starting to see a resettlement. I am going to wait and see how the markets look here for the market opening, which is happening right now, and see if that, if it's just initial pullback on the market open or what. We'll dig into the charts to take a look at that. Moving up to the economic data, guys, this is what happened this morning here. We had core PCE price come out, price index for month over month came out. Was projected and forecasted to be neutral, like it was, 0.3%, forecasted maybe be a little bit lower, and it came in a little bit lower. Personal income month over month was at 0.5. This slowing down a little bit, coming in with the consensus and forecast below its previous level. Personal spending, though, this is the one that I'm kind of feeling good about, and here's why. It was at 0.8. This is how much people were spending. Consensus and forecast was that it would be down from that, but it would be 0.3 or 0.4%. We actually came in at 0.2%, meaning people are spending less money right now. That means that they are slowing down on the demand of goods. It is possible that if this data matches up with some other data in June, that we could see our next print for inflation be lower, which means that overall we would be able to say that, hey, look, demand is lessening, supply is staying static, inflation is back on a downward slope, and that would be bullish for the markets. That PCE price index, again, came in neutral, and then price index year over year came in neutral, a little bit higher than the forecast, but dead on the consensus there, and that is what happened there. If we jump over here to the X marks the spot, I got a couple of things in here that I can break out for us. That would be this one here, breaking April PCE inflation. The Fed's preferred inflation measure was 2.7, in line with the expectation of 2.7. Core PCE inflation was 2.8, in line with the expectation of 2.8. Both headline and PCE inflation were unchanged last month. Higher for longer is here to stay. And then he goes down here to say, well, that is not it. Let's go over here, and I will go to Kabisi letter and find the actual one that I saw. There it is. This 3-month annualized rate, the 3-month annualized rate was 3.5% in April. This is down from the previous 2 months, but still above the levels that we're seeing the last 6 months of 2023. So no change in interest rates is likely the Fed's next move. There is some mixed sentiment, though, because if we jump over here into this article about the Fed's preferred inflation rate measured coming in line, take a look at what they say here. It says print brings back interest rate cut hopes. And that is why we are seeing this shuffle in the market right now of a pump and then a pullback. I think today is going to be pretty volatile on this data because it is giving these mixed feelings, this mixed sentiment in the markets right now. And so what we're seeing is a mixture of buying pressure and selling pressure really playing around hard on the price action. I'm going to go ahead and jump straight into the Bitcoin chart here, and we'll show you what happened here this morning. You can see we had this little pump rally. This is on the candle that it happened on. It moved up to about $69,000 on the dot. And then we are now getting a pullback, but we are not closing a red candle on this yet. We are still in a little bit of green. It's a doji, if you will. But this candle will be closing in about an hour and 20 minutes. We'll see how it looks. But I do have a new channel on here. We have a rising channel that we are in right now, sitting here on the 4 hour. And what I'm going to be watching is if we break this point of control, the break of the point of control, which is this dashed red line running across, would also indicate a break of that channel. And this is a bearish pattern. If you guys don't know, it typically breaks to the downside. We do have some hopium here, being that we have the dynamic reactor coming in right below us. We also have the point of control giving us support. If we break this, though, and we break out of this, guys, it is very likely that we could be heading down to about 61,000. That is the value area low on this fixed range volume profile. but likely would find support around 63 to 64,000 just based on this cluster over here of volume. We come over here, you can see there is a cluster of volume right here at these levels, which would again come in $63,000. So that's what I'm going to be watching for. If we break this pattern, if we hold inside this pattern, guys, and we push to the upside on this, maybe get a weekend bump. Watch for first level 70,200 on the high side, and then we do have the mid range about 72.5 of this channel. So let's kick it over to TradeFly, because I know you got that heat map ready for us. And what levels are you seeing on there, brother?
All right, yeah, looking at the liquidation heat map, this is on the daily. First level on the top side is going to be 69,600. You can see a hot spot there, but you can see a little bit more liquidity down on the bottom side. So what I'm going to do is go over to the 3-day and see if that shows us a little bit more of a trend, or not a trend, but I say maybe a hotter spot. And looking at that 66,800. If I remember last time we were talking about 69 to 60, it was 68.6 or something along those lines. So yeah, it's still here. That's, I don't know. I don't know that price action is necessarily close enough to drive, or liquidity is close enough to any of the price action to really drive price action right now. You can see there's blue kind of on the top and the bottom side. So usually that's not a big factor, right? We can go back and we kind of hang our hats really on traditional TA. So coming over here to TA, I think the last time that I spoke with you guys, one of the areas I was looking at and I was very adamant about was the previous point of control. Now this has moved because it's updated. As its price action has moved up, we get later in time. Depending on how you draw your fixed range volume profiles, right now, this one I have extending to the right. And that's because we're still in a range, and we've been in this range since February. So I'm letting my my fixed range volume profile update as we stay in this range. Well, since the last time we talked, you can see the point of control has actually moved up a little bit, but I wanted to point this area out because Piper just talked about it as well. And that's where the dynamic reactor was. And that's where the previous point of control was. And that's where I said you probably find some price action. And that's essentially exactly what has played out. But one of the reasons I go back and I love horizontal levels of support and resistance, this is the 2021 high. Now, you guys have heard me talk about it a couple of times, but look at how many times that it's respected that area. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4. And even right here, you got 1, 2, a couple of hits of support, a bunch of hits of resistance, try to hold up as support, looking for that continuation, but it actually broke down all around the 2021 high, which is kind of crazy to think about that that's still in play. So keep an eye on that, because look, you can see this morning, it wicked right off of the 2021 high. And so that is why I love looking back and seeing these levels of horizontal support and resistance, because you get price action off of them all the time. So, in terms of what we're looking at right now, Piper already said today's going to be a little bit volatile because you're kind of stuck on the fence, right? You don't know which way you're going to go with it. So be very, very careful today. I'm just going to give you a couple areas to look at, and that is the 2021 high. That's at 69K. All right. So that's going to be a significant area that you're going to find price action off of. And then right here where the point of control has now updated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift my line up right here to where the point of control is, and can't do that because I have an alert on it. Let me go ahead and take that off. Boom. All right. Now I can move it. So go to the point of control. All right. That's going to be an area. Now, you can see here, I have a little trend line, right? A little trend line of support. You can see that's kind of riding up and right. And then you had a trend line that's coming down and right as well. So it's almost building pressure in this area. It looks like it wants to come down and actually do a true retest of this trend line that's coming down and right. So there is hope for you that in conjunction with the point of control and this trend line coming down and right, you might actually get some price action off of here, which, to be fair, as I'm looking at it, looks like that's kind of already played out, right? It got the retest here of this trend line, went straight up to the 2021 high, got rejected. So now we're stuck in this range. And to be honest with you, if you're scalping or doing intraday, then there could be an opportunity here. I would say probably like you want to be very, very careful because you already got price action off of the two significant levels. But you could see some movement or consolidation inside of this range. Personally, I'm waiting for a breakdown. All right. I'm waiting for a breakdown, or I'm gonna wait for it to break out to the upside before I get really interested in making a play here for Bitcoin. And then, that's once we find our new trend or new direction, that's probably where I would look for an entry if we're doing scalping or intraday. So again, those are kind of your key levels. You got about 67, 8 is a nice one, and then down where the dynamic reactor. So that's kind of be your bottom area of support at about 67K. So there's a few areas for you guys to look at, and I will pass it back.
Awesome. Before we jump over to OC's chart, jump over to mine real fast, and I'll show you what I'm seeing here and why I think that we might actually see an afternoon pump on the markets. Right now, you see these. I'm looking at the S&P 500 E-mini futures, and off of that data this morning on PCE, they are getting quite a decent little move up here. You can see that we did start to get a pullback. That's this wick right here that came down to 52.55, but now on this hourly candle, these are 1 hour candles. It is starting to pull back up for that candle body up here to about 52. What is it? 52, 65, 66, somewhere in that range. So we are starting to see that the futures are calling for higher on the S&P, which would mean that it is possible that we have an afternoon rally to close the week to the upside. So just be careful this morning. I would be in a watch and wait mode, just like TradeFly is right now. You go back to Trio Cam. But right now, I am watching how these futures are playing out because they're going to give me indication of the sentiment of the TradFi, which will give me a kind of a marker of indication how the sentiment is on the crypto side. So that's what we're going to be watching there, guys, closely. But OC, what are you seeing on your charts? Let's go over Bitcoin on you, and then we'll jump into a little bit of news, some of these articles, and then guys in the chat, if you have anything that you'd like to see on altcoins today, heading into the weekend, drop it into the chat. ZTS is prepared to start writing that list down for us, and also don't forget, hit the like button. So, all right, let's go. OC, what you got for us?
Absolutely. So I do have here on my charts a movement downwards, right? Remember that yesterday, and if we go to the video here, I was talking about this trend line that TradeFly has been talking about for a couple of months, well, a couple of weeks already, right? And I was saying we either make the push today or break. And also at the end of this analysis, I was drawing this line to the upside, basically telling you guys that I was expecting for that we needed to bounce right there, right now in Bitcoin, or we're going to go visiting some lower areas like 61, 62 areas, right? So let's see what happened here. Let me just bring up my drawings, and you can see that this is a trend line that we've been looking at. And look at that beautiful bounce to the upside. Yeah, it wasn't that big of a deal on a bounce, right? But the important part is that we are right now above the zero line in here, right? This is not over yet. I mean, we do still have a good prime score, but I see the oscillator kind of like a turning around, right? So it gets me worried a little bit. Hopefully we can make a little bit of a goose head like this one, and we can do just a little retracement back to the dynamic reactor, maybe going for a fake out and finally going and bursting through to the upside at the top of that range. That's what I would be just looking at, especially since we are right now at 31 of May. So tomorrow is going to be a brand new month. I hope that we can start fresh and on green on that one. But still, guys, we need to be still a little bit careful. Entry zones for me are going to be still the same areas right here, somewhere between 67 and 65. As we still above the zero line, I rather wait for the confirmation of this trend pattern, because we haven't had a breakout of this trend line in here that we have had, right? So I want to have the confirmation for me. It's a breakout, retest, and off we go. Entry zone right up here as we have a secondary flip of the ribbon right here on our oscillator. So that's what I'm going to be waiting for on this upcoming weekend. So just be careful on that one, because if we can't stay above the zero line here, I think we're going to go visiting 61, 62 areas.
Nice. That's good. I'm sitting here looking at the list. It looks like we got Solana, we got SYK, we've got VET, and we got NOS. So OC, I know you've done some previous TA on NOS, so just get that one prepared. We're going to go ahead and jump into some news here, guys. Just so you guys know, on my chart, there we go. $8.12 billion in Bitcoin and Ethereum options are going to expire today. The market impact on that, let's take a look and see what it could be here. Bitcoin options totaling $4.65 billion with a put to call ratio of 0.6. And then Ethereum options total $3.47 billion with a put to call ratio of 0.85. And let's get down here and see what this could do for the markets. Market watchers are particularly attentive to this event due to its potential to influence short-term trends through the volume of contracts and their notional value. Examining the put-to-call ratios and maximum pain points can provide insight. So let's go look at those maximum pain points here. On Bitcoin today, according to derivatives data, these 261,390 expiring Bitcoin options have a put-call ratio of 0.6. This ratio suggests a prevalence of purchase options, calls, over sells, puts, meaning it's more bullish than bearish, okay? Because you call up a friend, you put down the phone, right? So calls and puts, longs, shorts. The data also reveals that the maximum pain point for these expiring options is about $65,000. Maximum pain is the price that the asset price will cause the greatest number of holders to have financial loss. So $65,000 is that level of max pain. Let's go down here and see what it says here on these contracts for Ethereum. 2,750,922 Ethereum options contracts are set to expire today. They have a notional value of about $3.47 billion, a put to call ratio of 0.85. Maximum pain point is $3,300. So the number of today's expiring Ethereum options significantly higher than last week. During last week's ETH options, there were 352,000 expiring contracts. Again, 2.7 million options contracts being expired today. So significantly higher. What does that mean for the thing? Ahead of the expiration, options traders shared insight into the options market, suggested that the market volatility is expected to remain low. Keep in mind, though, we did get PCE today. Adds a little bit of a flavor of volatility in there that was not relevant at the time when this was written. But there are fewer macro events this week, and they don't affect the macro market coming up ahead of us next week. And these options can cause sharp price movement. The impact is usually temporary, so guys, don't get shaken out. Don't worry if we do see pullbacks to that 3,300 or that $65,000 Bitcoin level. Just be aware today, a lot of expirations of those calls and puts on options contracts for Bitcoin and Ethereum. So wanted to bring that out there. Let's go ahead and jump over and do a round of some TA for everybody. And then we'll get into more articles and get into that Peter Brandt article here in a bit. Let's go ahead and kick it over to OC Guy, and we will start down the chain here.
Absolutely. So starting with notes because that was requested, it seems like our analysis is playing out absolutely as we were expecting. So we were looking at this uprising channel. Remember, it's not about the breakout, it's about the retest. It seems like the retest, and this is a little bit of caveats that we need to be aware of, right? For me, I was looking for a big breakout and then a big retest, right? So what it seems to be happening is that, yes, look at that. We did went into the zone of the breakout, right? But it just happened so quickly. Let me zoom in. There we go. Look at that. Look at that week going to the circle here. So it just happened so quickly that, I mean, if you just see the price action by its bodies, well, it doesn't seem to be getting there, right? But as you can see, the price action did went all the way back down there and then went all the way up there. So basically, you need to, guys, be a little bit careful with this kind of movement, especially here on notes, because it likes to do that, just weak into those areas very quick, very fast, right? So far, playing out very nicely. It's not about the breakout, it's about the retest, and off we go. Where do we go on the off we go? Well, where to this big area of support. Once again, you can see that we did reach the area. We also bounced from that area. Look at that. Although the timing wasn't perfect, you can see that the price was. And then going all the way back down here. So let's just start pulling up here my indicators to see how far back could we be going. Spoiler alert, I don't think that much farther down. Why? Because we are below the zero line, and look at what is happening right here. Look at this symmetrical triangle that we've been looking at the oscillator. Not only that, look at how much bullish pressure we've been making here, and we keep moving downwards. All right, let's see if that had happened before, and we can see it right here that it wasn't exactly the same thing, but as you can see, we also created a bullish, or sorry, a symmetrical triangle. What happened? We did went from bullish to bearish, right? Just like we have in here. Further move to the downside, so maybe further move to the downside as we go to this arrow here, and then as we build up the bullish momentum, well, we do a little bit of volatility and then we shift places, right? Exactly like here. So I'm not saying that it's going to happen exactly like, but it seems like it is repeating almost at the same pace, at the same ranges, and at the same price action movements one to another. So it seems to be a little bit of copycatting here. So as you can see right here, we're going to, or my target is all the way down here at the last support that we have, somewhere around 2.71. So another important thing that we are hitting into, it is this liquidity area. By the way, that's liquidity zones are inside Market Dynamics Pro, which takes me to believe that we're going to be having a bounce, especially since our volume, it is way much more bullish than our bearish volume in this liquidity zone, right? So I do not expect to have a full bouncing here for a change of trend, but also I do expect to have maybe a significant bounce just to make a good bounce or dead cat bouncing here. So I will be calling a bounce somewhere around this area or even to this area right here, and that is also because we have a loud order block. Look at that, aiming to the bottom of that loud order block, and then continuing down once again to have another little movement on the support area right here, and then going to the ultimate target. So just be careful. I do see that we have a little bit of that bearish momentum still, so we keep track on that analysis. So turning it back to you guys.
Awesome. Trade Fly, what you got up for us, bro?
Right on. Got the Soul train ready. All right. So looking at Soul on the daily, you got a trend line that I'm kind of following right here, acting as support. And we're testing that area right now. So coming down to the prime oscillator, trying to get an idea of which way we might be headed. That's kind of showing me that we have a little bit more of a bearish push than a bullish push coming to the privacy. It's also calling for a market dump. So not quite what you want to see when you come over to test a trend line. So I would be very cautious with this trend line right here, but understand it is a trend line, and so far so good, has been honoring it. So there is a potential for some movement to the upside. Where's my bias though? My bias would be actually probably a little bit down. I'd probably be looking at least in the 160 area at the 0.382. This 0.382 goes way back. It's been this fixed, or not the fixed range, but the Fibonacci retracement, something I've been following for a very long time. Haven't really updated it in terms because we haven't set a new high. So that one is kind of a long-term, very zoomed out fib retracement, but it's played out pretty well so far. When we did come down and retest this golden pocket here, you can see we did find support there, as well as the dynamic reactor. You know how well that's been playing out. So let me give you some key areas to look at. And the reason I like the 0.382 here at about 160 is because you can see resistance, and then we actually got that breakthrough of the resistance area, come down, retest. So now we're basically seeing if we can flip this area of resistance into support, which so far so good, it has held up. So that would be a key area for me to keep an eye on personally. If we get a larger breakdown with the crypto market, let me give you another key area to look at that I really, really like. This is definitely an area I would say, and I'm going to do it right now, is actually set an alert. And so you guys know me. I like to let price action come to me. I'm just very patient. Once we come down to those levels, then I get interested in potentially making a trade. Why do I like this area? Here at about 143, somewhere probably about 145, is because you got the 0.5, you got the dynamic reactor, which is working its way up. So as price action continues to move to the right, you're going to see the dynamic reactor kind of work its way up. That gives you confluence. All right. So when we get confluence, that's where trade flag gets a little bit more excited. And that's where I would look for a potential long. So right there at about 143, key area for me. Short term, let's go ahead and just take a quick look at the 4 hour. I just want to see what that's telling us, at least with the oscillators as well. Still saying market dump. You can see that the oscillator here is trying. Like you can see, it's kind of, it almost looks indecisive. Look how it's just kind of up and down right there. You don't see that all too often. A lot of times you'll just see it kind of make a move up and then kind of pull back, and you can look for a trend. This is very much horizontal, showing us a lot of indecision right now, which is actually pretty interesting. Chart prime, look at that. It's trying to copy me a little bit here. I would say my trend line is a little bit lower, but for chart prime, it's saying that you actually had a breakout retest, and it's looking for a smart target right down here at about the 382, right? So there's a little bit lower than mine, but that is an area of, it's never going to be perfect. So you got a little range there. It's giving you 158. I'm giving you about 159 to 160. But all it's doing, look, I mean, you're just coming back left and looking and seeing this area of resistance, and then ultimately it wasn't a great retest. It did come down just underneath of it, but again, a little bit of a range, and that kind of lines up a little bit more with the smart target there. But boom, takes off. We talk about that all the time. With the old OC guy retest, but that's what you got there, retest, and then continuation of the upside. So again, there's a couple areas for you guys to look at on Sol. I will say, got to give you a bias, right? What's my bias here? That's tough, man. Even the 4 I got the dynamic reactor on the bottom side, but still saying market dumps. A lot of indecision there. Man, that's just tough. Really depends on the market. I would say my bias right now, just looking at the trend, is probably going to be more so to the downside. Maybe fill, or at least come down and retest this 382 at about 160. But again, key area for me, 143. That's the area to watch. That's the area to set an alert for, and let it come to you. You don't have to enter a trade today. Let price come to you, and then that's an opportunity for you to go long. That's why I love setting these alerts, because price action will surprise you all the time. And next week, all of a sudden you got an alert going off. You're like, well, what was that? And you look back and you're like, oh, came down to this key area, and it's opportunity, right? It's a lot better than buying at 166. You can buy it at 143. So that's kind of the way I like to play the game. And that is what I got for Sol.
Yeah, sometimes you forget you put those alerts in, and then you
All
get
the time.
a notification alert, and
Yeah.
2 months later, and you're like, when did I set an alert? And you go back and you look and you go, oh, we're there,
Oh,
we're there.
yeah. That's the
Oh.
golden pocket. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's jump over to my chart. I got V chain up right now. Taking a look at VET, guys. We have something interesting going on here. First off, we've got this range from the bottom, where we had the bottom point here and the top point. We laid some fibs here, and you can see that these fibs have played out pretty decently. The golden pocket has been our ranging area that we've been in going back to the 1st of May. So for an entire month, we had just been playing, trying to find which way we want to go. But that pivot point of bulls to bears, buying and selling pressure, sitting here on the golden pocket. But if we go in here and let's drop this down to an hourly chart, and I'm going to show you something interesting here. We're going to bring this in. Let's get that fixed range volume profile. There we go. We're going to turn off these fibs, and we're going to turn on some local fibs. These local fibs taken from right down here on this point to this high point. And I want you guys to see what's happening on the macro level as we jump in smaller here, lower levels. Guys, it's this golden pocket again and the platinum pocket that has been playing with our emotions on price action. And if I bring this in, we zoom this up, take a look and see what we're seeing here. We just got 2 hours ago a rejection on that 618 again. We are very likely heading back down to the 786 on VET. That would be previous areas that we have bounced on already, and it's already shown us that this is a price to watch. This is a price zone that's polarizing price action towards it. So that would be the 786 is coming in at about 3.3 cents, we'll call it. And that is the level that I'm going to be watching here. I do believe that VET's going to head down here. If we find support there for a bounce, excellent long opportunity. However, not financial advice, I personally would probably do a split entry there and a split entry on the 887. Reason for that is if we come back, we can see that that was the initial bounce point, and that would be a liquidity grab below this, a liquidity grab below this. Second entry on the 887 at 0.3316 cents. And so I would have entry number 1, entry number 2, and that would be my long, setting my stop loss down below the 1-to-1, and then I would let it run its course back up. The reason that I think that is a good play is because if we go back to the 4-hour and we look at the oscillators here, there we go. Let's get rid of all of the Mexican spaghetti. Jesus, I have an entire plate of Mexican spaghetti over here now. Brush mark, brush mark, brush mark. We take a look at what we're seeing on the oscillators, we are looking down here on the Oscillator Pro like we are about to get that move up. We're almost fully into the bullish range. And then on top of that, we are below that 30% on the RSI Prime. Both of the oscillators right now, in my opinion, giving us a setup for the upside. And again, those levels, that 0.332 and that 0.3316 being the platinum pocket on that local would be a key area to find that support in for a bounce. So that's what I'd be watching for on VeChain. And I don't think I see anything else. Let's just take a quick look at the daily on it and see if I'm seeing anything here. You can see right above. Yep, there is something here, actually. Right above that 618 golden pocket is the dynamic reactor, and we have tried twice to get out of that, get above that, and we cannot. So, yeah, guys, I'm going to have to go with the platinum pocket. I think the platinum pocket is going to be a key area to buy into. On the daily, that platinum pocket coming in as low as 0.31. So, if you're looking at scalp trades, that would be the other levels that I showed you on the locals. If you're looking at a swing trade, I would look at 0.3147 of the platinum pocket for a bounce there. It does still indicate on the daily that we have a little bit of downside coming, which would give us that downward movement to get to those entry levels that we talked about already. So let's kick it back over to TriCam. Let's look at some news here. Let me get it pulled up while we're switching over there, and we will find out what tokens are being unlocked in June 2024. Yeah, let's kick it over to my screen here. Major token unlocks in June 2024, over $800 million to hit the market, guys. What tokens is it? Well, it's Arbitrum, Aptos, and StarkNet. And Crux talks about this all the time. I'm not going to go too deep into this, but Crux has talking points all the time on token unlocks and what they can do to price. They basically dilute the supply, which lowers the price. You know, if you have a 100 of an item that is valued at this amount and you add another 100, it's not as rare, right? That's why Bitcoin's 21 million is such a big deal. This is going to flush in a dilution into the market on Arbitrum, Aptos, and StarkNet. Smaller yet significant unlocks is also as a alt layer, Pixels, and ApeCoin, which could impact their market dynamics. And these are all in June, guys. So as June approaches, notable token unlock events are set to influence the market. And they identified those ones, again, all in June 2024. Could see some big volatility off of these. In addition, DYDX, SUI, 1inch, and Athena also are going to see unlocks. So let's kick it back over to TriCam. We need to talk about this for a second, because when you have these token unlocks, yeah, it's great for the people that are holding and looking for, possible airdrops on it, so on and so forth. But if there's just an unlock and they're pushing more out into the market, it really messes with hodlers. So, what's your guys' opinion? Should we be watching Arbitrum closer to see what happens with price, stuff like that? Any of these tokens, but Arbitrum and is the one that Crux most recently did his deep dive on about the unlock, and he said at the level that it drops to on this next unlock, that is the last major unlock for Arbitrum. So it could be a good buy point for it. But I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts on this about the unlocks coming in June. Do you think it's going to be big movements or not?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to vary between different projects and tokens, right? Because like you said, it depends on the scarcity, how much are they unlocking. So there's going to be a big variation. But yeah, I mean, I think what Crux said there, what you just pointed out, is really key, right? So you look at that support level in correlation with that airdrop, and that might be a good opportunity to find that lowest area of support, especially when that is a significant airdrop or potentially the last one of significance. So, that's something that you got to take into consideration with some of these other projects that you don't really have to think about with Bitcoin. So, that's why I tend to stay away from some of those, just because there's increased volatility that I can't always track. I can't always keep track that there's going to be an airdrop or, something that's going to have a large impact on this token. So that's pretty hard. If you guys are, 100% invested and you're doing this every day and you're watching all that stuff, good on you. or if it's just a project that you love, because that might have you in tune with a Discord, or you might be able to get ahead of things like that and realize that there could be an opportunity based on those airdrops. So for me personally, it's hard to say or make any kind of real analysis on what the effect is going to be, because I really haven't done a deep dive on these projects. I know that it can have an effect, and I would be careful when, if you're invested, get smart on it so that you do realize or know what is about to happen once this airdrop goes live, or however it does work.
Yep, for sure, and that's why we have Crux, man.
Yeah,
he's always giving up that alpha for us.
my man is
OC, your thoughts
the
on
background MVP, man. Is the
he
background
is. He is.
MVP.
Nobody realizes it, but unless you're a member in the group, and then you get all of his knowledge that he's dripping out there every day. So,
His
drippy
knowledge is
alpha.
what? Anyone? Knowledge is what?
What's that?
Chat.
Knowledge
We're
is
waiting
profit.
for you.
Knowledge is profit.
We're waiting for you, chat.
OC, what do you think on this, man? Your thoughts on these airdrops coming up, particularly
Oh man,
Arbitrum. I think Arbitrum is going to be a big one to watch. So.
absolutely. I mean, my thought is that if Crux has already taken a look at it, I mean, this guy just eats for bricks as white papers, right? So man, this guy it's a machine. We're talking about knowledge about it. So if you already have taken a look at it, I mean, I believe that I will be also very interesting on keeping an eye on Arbitrum, especially because of the airdrops that we've been looking at and what you mentioned about the process of burning those tokens. So I will be saying that we are still also below the dynamic reactor on the Bitcoin dominance. We have a rejection. We are above the zero line. So I would wait for a couple of weeks before expecting that reaction, right? I mean, I still want to look at it, but if we can drop really quick to my charts, very fast. Thank you. There we go. We are below the dynamic reactor in here. So I also see that we are above the zero line, and I need to see that we bounce up on, center of this channel, breakthrough, all right? And then right here, when we start dropping back down, if we can align, if we see that drop of the Bitcoin dominance alignment dropping on the airdrop on Arbitrum, this could be taking we could be taking serious gains on Arbitrum, because we'll be seeing money influx from Bitcoin to especially Arbitrum. So yeah, I do see it happening. I think that we should be taking a close look at it, and we could be looking at also other altcoins that might get benefit out of this retracement like we had in here. Something like that is what I'm expecting. But yeah.
Awesome. Let's kick it over to my chart. I got Ondo up. And we're going to be looking at this. We're going to run through another run here on some altcoins off of that list. I'm not sure what else is still on that list. You got TradeFly and OC. Take a look in our Discord chat, and you can see what's in there left. But then we're going to come back and talk about Peter Brandt and his Bitcoin price prediction to write out the show. Looking at Ondo here, by request for French Toaster. We have on here right now, these are trend-based fib extensions. If you take a look at where these are coming from, it is 3 points. It is going to be this low to this high to this low, and that is because we went into price discovery. When you're in price discovery, trend-based fib extensions are a great way to lay out where you could be heading. And interestingly enough, on that pump, we did get a slight pull down below the platinum pocket, but that was our bounce point. And now on the 4 hour, we are heading back up, guys. I do think that Ondo is going to be heading up to the phase one golden pocket. That is the 1.618, sitting at $1.39. That would be the target that I would call for this. But if we do something that I just did on the other chart, and we go to a 1 hour here, let's go to 1 hour. There we go. And we take it and we turn that fib on and turn that fib off. I've got a local fib here. And this local fib pulling from the top here down to the bottom. Let's get rid of those. And let's zoom this in and see what we're seeing here. Come on, there you go. We just got a rejection on that golden pocket about 2 hours ago, guys. And so looking at that, right now we have the 50 sitting right below us. The 50 is important because if we bounce on this, that is going to be a very bullish move. I always say it. If we come down and bounce off the 50 and go up, it is bullish. If we come up to the 50 and reject off of it, it is bearish. That test, which almost wicked down to it on this here, close enough actually on fib sequencing to be in the range, right? Just depending on which exchange you're looking at. This is on Binance. On something else, major Ondo mover may actually have hit the 50 based on where they wick down to on their exchange, because every exchange is a little bit different. But right now, I am watching for us to break this golden pocket, guys. And that target that I would set on that would be the 887 up at $1.30. If we look at that $1.30 range in comparison to what we're looking at on that trend-based fib extension, it's going to be about the halfway mark to what we're looking at for that $1.39. So it might give you a take profit there at $1.30, hitting that for your take profit one, and then take you and your market close at $1.39, or limit order close. I mean, but that's what I'm seeing on Ondo. Let's go take a look on the 4 hour at the oscillators and see how they're looking. They're both still looking strong right now. You can see on the RSI Prime, we've got good Heikin-Ashi green candles, no wicking going on, giving an indication of continuance there. And then also we are about to break that zero line. It doesn't look right now that we're going to get a rejection on that zero line, but keep in mind, again, on that local fibs, we are at the golden pocket. So it's going to be dependent upon a break of that golden pocket for continuation, in my opinion. But if it does get there and get to break, maybe on that retest, that would be the entry point right there around $1.25. Again, take profit one on a scalp, $1.30. Take profit two at $1.39 on Ondo. I hope that helps. Let's kick it over and let's
Piper,
see what
I'm seeing an educational opportunity here, and so I'm watching it, and I think back to kind of when I first started, and people started talking about fib retracements. Now, I see that you drew it from the top of the price action to the bottom. Can you explain to people why you went that way with it and how you are using it based on the trend, vice the way a lot of times that you see it drawn from bottom to top?
Well, because I was looking for the lower. There's always a trend. Even if I put this down on
Yep.
a 15-minute, there's a trend here where this is a change of trend, right? Oop, can I get my drawing tool? Thanks. This here is a change of trend. This is now an uptrend. This was a downtrend. This was an uptrend. So even though overall this has been a downtrend, there is micro trends within trends, which is how you get, like higher highs and higher lows. That higher low for a period of time was a reversal of the upward trend as it pulled back to a higher low and then continued on. So that is why I did it that way. And if you take a look at what we have here on that hourly, what I was looking at, we had a period here where this was an upward movement, and then we started a trend reversal, a retracement. It is a fib-based retracement. So I looked at that being a retracement back down and said, I'm going to measure these 2 points to see where the up point could be at for that retracement reversal on a golden pocket. So
Right.
So just like
So identify the trend is very important when utilizing the tool. And I think it's a little opportunity because maybe not everyone really understands why, you're finding those particular points and like you were using the trend to actually be like, okay, now I'm looking for this retracement. So I just think it's important. I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, damn, why did you just draw it from top to bottom? And I was like confused, the very first time I saw it. But I saw an opportunity. And I just
yep,
wanted
absolutely,
to
yeah.
point that out.
Because if I was wanting to measure this breakout to here for the retracement back down, I would do it from the bottom. Oh, let's get it on the bottom first. I would do it from the bottom here because that was the point of breakout to the top, which obviously we don't know what that this is the top when it hits, but when we start coming down here. Okay, well, let's go see if there is a point that this can come down to. Let me turn off the other one. There we go. And so we've got that low to high, and then that range gives us, and that's actually not directly on there. Let me get that exactly set there. There we go. Now we can see where these levels are at. Like, for example, the 50. A bounce on the 50 to the upside is bullish. And I'm looking at a 5-minute chart here right now. So using that, point from low to high gives me levels to look at for scalping on a lower time frame, or on a bigger time frame, I would have a much bigger period of the trend. So yeah, good question, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right, what do you got for us,
I
OC?
dig it.
Absolutely. I have Jasmine here. So first of all, before we jump right into Jasmine, I want to take a look at the goose heads in here. So we have a happy goose head, and also we have a sad goose head. I just want to show you guys that I also have drawn a center line from the top portion of the oscillator, right? Just so you know, this is my whole oscillator. This is the zero line, and this is the zero line of the zero line, right? So I just have drawn this purple line for the zero line. Usually my dog heads, I want them to be above the zero line, right? That usually give me the best success rate, or the best possible scenario, right? Let's just also look at what had happened to the price action. Here, let me just expand it and then pull it back down. So as you can see, I'm measuring from the top of the head, the flat head, and then the peak. Usually I want to see the peak on a different color, like in this one, right? But this one also works, especially since the peak is horizontally, right? That is a happy dog. This is a sad dog because the peak is going downwards, all right? So usually what the dog face indicates me is that at the head, we're going to have a little retracement, and then at the peak and a little bit more on this buffering area, we are going to be having a little run up before we head back down, all right? And when we're going back down, we want to look for the next big support, all right? If we didn't have this big next support, I would actually be expecting to go to previous lows, all right? So what's the difference between a happy dog, which usually has a continuation, all right, to a sad dog? This is important because on a happy dog, look at our first target right here. Look at our secondary target and look at the outcome before the movement. We have 3 highs. Usually a dog head, it is up to or two highs, right? So we can even ignore this and just look at the buffering area. So we have high, higher high, and then drop back down, all right? What happens to the sad dog face here, or the sad, so the sad dog face, we have a secondary bounce, but as you can see, let me just remove this line here, that we are not having a technical higher high. In fact, we have, yes, a secondary opportunity, but we did not reach at the top, neither for a double top nor a higher high before we drop back down. Instead, a sad dog usually has a lower high, all right? So now that we have learned this, let me just clear this up and let's go all the way at the end of in here. So, oh, I removed something I didn't intended to remove. Let me see. There we go. This is our analysis from this week, right? So I believe that I was looking at this analysis on Monday, and we were looking at this breakout. In fact, I called this breakout throughout the class yesterday, and it moved, right? So as you can see, we have almost there on the measured target. Remember, usually measured target is measured from here, but I like to measure it from the bottom. That usually gives me a more realistic target, right? So what we have right there, well, we have our first resistance that we're building up. Also, look at what we have learned on the dog face. Look at what is happening here, right? This is a sad dog face. So despite we still need to go for the buffering zone. So this is the head, then we have the flat head and the peak, and then we're going for the buffering zone. In this buffering zone, usually we are going to be seeing a little bit of retracement, maybe a push up, but remember, this is looking like a sad dog. So I don't expect to have higher highs. I expect to have either the same highs or lower highs, right? So we need to be a little bit careful. We almost maxed out on our smart target here, or on our, sorry, measured target, which is this one, and we have nothing else to give us support other than the support that we are right now into, but this fair value gap all the way down here. So we could absolutely go back down here and then re-execute our analysis. Does that mean bearish? Just micro bearish, because we are still above the zero line. We could very much go for a bounce or flip of the ribbon out of the zero line at these support areas, and then continuing our way up. So how do I trade this? Well, then it is too late for me to long it. I rather wait for these areas to reinvest as I have flip of the ribbon. And if you're looking for a short position, remember we are bullish. Shorting a bullish market is usually it is going against the trend. That usually doesn't always go your way, right? But if you want to take the risk, these areas right here, as we keep pushing downwards, could be a good opportunity for a short scalp. So that's what I got on Jasmine. So far, on track with the analysis.
Nice.
Nerd
Sad
alert!
Duckface. Sad Duckface is nerd alert. Sad Duckface is trending on Twitter right now as we speak.
Good gracious!
Sad
Look
Duckface.
at that spaghetti, man. You are living up to the name right there. You got some
Mexican
meatballs
Oh,
spaghetti.
yes,
there
I'm
down
trying
the
to
prime
clean this up.
oscillator. You guys, all right.
Eating it up.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if
need
you
to
guys saw
clean
me.
this
I'm
up.
like sitting on the edge
so-
of my seat here. I'm like, damn, look at all this. Like, I'm like, I'm learning something.
Thumbnail fell in the chat. Yes, it was. And I actually said that at the beginning. It looks like I called that a little too soon because we had the initial pump and then we're getting the dump. But I do think we end higher at the end of the day. So stick around for the day.
I gave you the thumbnail to use. You should have used the one in the
you did.
Discord. You should have just used
Great
that.
thumbnail.
That was the
Great
one.
thumbnail.
That was the one. It's all right.
Hey,
One
I
day.
never claimed to be able to tell the future, so it's we try to predict, but we can't nail it. So it is okay. Let's get into the last trade flies analysis here and see what he's looking at on SYK. He said it's a little difficult.
It is, yeah.
A little bit
it
difficult.
is.
Let's see what you got.
So let me take the dynamic support and resistance zones off here in a second. Don't worry, you guys are gonna get the chemtrails here in a minute. But looking at this, right? This is the only exchange I found it on, at least for TradingView, was Bitkit. So it had a really big pump up, obviously on listing, and then it quickly consolidated. And this range is not as big as you think it might be. So just from the 382 up to the 0 is 24%. That's not massive, and really the range that it's really stuck in is actually significantly lower than that. Really from about there to there. So only about a 15% range here. I'd be careful though, because what I'm looking at right now is kind of tough. If I were to see this on a chart somewhere else, I'd be like, hey, this might be a bull flag, right? But this movement up is based on that listing on the exchange. I'm quite confident in that. Not 100% sure, but quite confident. The thing that I do like about it is that in terms of a pullback for something that just got listed, it's holding up pretty well. A lot of times you'll see this actually come back down quite a bit more, at least to like the 0.5. This is staying up there, but the trend really is showing you that it's still kind of down and right. It is forming a trend of down and right movement right here. I'm keeping an eye closely on that. You can see right here, it was trying to act as support. So all things that you want to keep an eye on, right? So here was your support area. Didn't have a close underneath of it. Then you started forming a trend that's down and right. It got underneath of that support area, which has now flipped that support into resistance. So for me, I'm saying there's going to be a continuation down and right. Where do you have a hope? Just based on this chart, it's, again, very hard to take something away from it. But I would say around the 382 at about 16 cents or so might be an opportunity. But here you go. Let them fly. Let's see the chemtrails. Let's see what Chart Prime has to say about that. There it is. I love it. So let them go. All right. You guys, I don't know if you guys hear the sound effects. That's intense. But coming down here, 382, looking at that again, you can see not a whole lot of volume associated with it, right? Because it had such an exponential move up. This is just a big wick. What does this huge wick tell me is that there is buying pressure down here. So you could see an opportunity at about, again, that's still 16 cents, 16.3. So I guess we're going to have to use increments here. 16.3 might be an opportunity, but you can see where the biggest area of volume was. When it gets this light blue area, that means there is significant volume coming in or out. And you could see that is all the way up at about 19 cents. So as of right now, trend is down and right. Trend is your friend. So if you're in, this is tough, to be honest with you. I'd be very, very careful. And again, here's potential areas. That's why I say this one's hard. This is, again, very much potential areas. You can try this 382. At least the prime oscillator looks like it's going up and right a little bit right now, but everything prime score looks bad. Market dumps, like it's all, none of it really looks good. I would not go long at this point personally. Like I said, you're under this area of support that is now resistance until we break both this channel and this area that was support, now resistance, and you see volume associated with that. Until we break that, I personally would not be very interested in getting into this because it looks a little volatile and it looks like it's headed down. So again, this is your, I'd say key area is going to be 17.8. Oh geez, that moved quick. 17.8. So you want to see something where it breaks out, comes down, retest, and then this is where you can look for some continuation. But as of right now, this is where I think we're headed. So be very, very careful.
Awesome. Yeah, I got. I'm going to be pulling up the last article here real fast, but I got to do something for Kevin in the chat real fast. Here you go. Pump canceled. I'll update this as the new thumbnail just for you. There we go. Let's put that on there, and we'll export this, and I'll upload this as soon as we get done, just for you on the show. There. Let's jump over real fast and check out what I've got on my chart. Export as JPEG. Let's go. Let's save that. May new. There we go. Look, you get that in real time, and then I'll put that on the new thumbnail. Let's take a look at why I said that here, guys. Looking at the Dixie is still pulling back red. That's why I said I do think we will see an afternoon pump on this stuff. The initial pullback this morning, fake out as he was saying, and then looking at this for an afternoon move to the upside, and that's what we're looking for. But let's jump over to that article and talk about that real fast. Where is it? Right there. Legendary trader Peter Brandt reveals epic 344% Bitcoin price growth prediction. Now, guys, he's not talking about the price of Bitcoin going up 344%. He is talking about in comparison to gold. So per gram of gold there, guys, is what he's talking about over the next 12 months. He says right here, according to analysis, Bitcoin is set to keep on going up against precious metals over the next 12 to 18 months. He foresees that the number of gold ounces needed to buy one Bitcoin could eventually reach 100 ounces of gold, which would mean a 344% rise in Bitcoin's current value compared to gold. There was a tweet that came out about it right there from Bitcoin Magazine, saying that he actually called 340% on this one. But in comparison to ounces of gold, how many ounces of gold it would take to buy a Bitcoin, showing that Bitcoin would have a rally of 344% and greater valuation growth than what gold would over the next 12 to 18 months, indicating that gold will likely see a slowdown of its growth while Bitcoin continues to take its share of gold holders. And then the last thing that I wanted to touch on here, guys, Austin, University of Austin.
Love gold.
I love gold. I know you do. And $6 billion on chain to raise $5 million in Bitcoin for the university's endowment. University of Austin plans to hold Bitcoin long term, and that's what I got there on that. Let's kick it back over to TriCam. We'll talk this out. Guys, is institutions like colleges getting into this? Is this bullish, or do you think that this is a sign of greed, too much greed? What's your thoughts?
I don't know if I call it greed. I see it as adoption, and adoption is good. Ultimately, that's bullish, right?
I concur.
The more people that get into it, and especially with an asset that has a finite supply, it just makes it go supply and demand. Very simple, makes the value of that asset go up. So I would say it's, yeah, I would say in comparison to gold, I could see where Bitcoin is going to move more because you have more people getting into Bitcoin vice gold. There's probably, I don't know how much market share it's necessarily going to take away, but it's that new asset that people are able to allocate their portfolios to in a much easier way now that we have the spot ETF. So you can actually make that part of your portfolio for people that are in traditional investments. All bullish. That's why, when we all really talk about Bitcoin, we're still all bullish. You're going to have these micro pullbacks. these areas where it consolidates, the areas where really you have opportunity to get into Bitcoin, and you can wait for those. But ultimately, long term, I think there's nothing but up and right for Bitcoin for me personally.
Nice. Now, OC, your thoughts on that before we get out of here?
Absolutely. I love the idea. In fact, back in the day, when I was mining, I was trying to create a coin. If you don't know, guys, here in Mexico, college and universities are free, and one of the best of the state, or sorry, of the country, are here in Yucatan, and it's for free. The thing is, in here, I was trying to make a coin which did not ended up. I did not follow up with that project. That you could maybe, or the government could maybe put in or allocating a little bit of their money that was going to the alumni and to the college into a crypto coin. So you could, as a college students, either mine it or use it by as stagnation, and then you can go to any other college and then also spend it based on the infrastructure that they had. So basically, a college student only currency to improve the way that you develop your skills throughout the whole educational system around the country, right? So just a little fun fact, and I do see, and I get really excited to see that colleges are starting to integrate cryptocurrency within their roots, and hopefully it does has a long lasting and good opportunities being built up throughout this adoption. But yeah, I'm very happy to see that. It really pumps me up in a special way.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Guys, you got anything as we head out of here and we head over to Randy Hipper's show and go raid the frat house? Anything for the people trade fly for the weekend? OC, either of you? What you got?
No, again, it was great being here. Glad to get a little bit of sleep, so I feel great right now. But I have to get out of here. I got a little bit of a tea time at 7:50, so got to bounce. Love you guys. Have a great weekend. Happy Friday.
OC?
Guys, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you guys are having a great weekend today. Remember to hit that like button, because if you do, you're going to have a better tasting breakfast tomorrow. Don't believe me? Try it out. It might work. Hit that like button and find out by yourself.
Awesome. Click to my screen real fast before I head out of here. I've updated the thumbnail now. It now says pump canceled. And then, guys, we're going to go over and raid Randy Hipper right after this. So make sure that you go back to TriCam. Make sure that you guys go in there, drop those graduation caps, and let them know that the alumni is coming in to take over the frat house. We will catch you guys back here Monday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be careful. Afternoon. Might be a pump. Might not be. I don't know. We'll see. Fake out city. PCE data. Unreadable. We'll see. Check you guys out then. Trade safe. And as always, use a stop loss.
I don't know what they keep telling me. I don't know what they keep telling me. Ain't no school like Piper Academy. Ain't no school like Piper Academy. We'll keep that front line covered, even when we're dead and gone. We'll find a way to keep going, cause we gon' keep on rolling out the wheels flow low. I know you hungry for knowledge, that's profit appetite. Classes in session, this for the Army Piper acolytes. Trade flag at the soul, train ready. What a line from OCI, from a Mexican spaghetti, yo. Crunch crypto with a deep dive to reject dime. And if you like the visual powered by Tar Prime, then you were part of that alumni, that's all spine. But if you have step, fall back to offline. We'll keep that front line covered, even when we're dead and gone. We'll find a way to keep going, cause we gon' keep on rolling out the wheels flow low. Sound off. To get with them, the ZTS rhythm. Alexandra.
Yeah, that's my alumni, you know what I mean.
That was awesome, dude!